Okay, let's address question number 2, which is regarding busing. There's a comment here about somebody's frustrations with the busing plan. And it says, the question is, the recommended plan to close Elm and band grades will require more students to be bused. If elected, what will you do specifically to ensure that busing improves now and in any plan that is approved by the Board of Education? Part 2 is, how important is maintaining walkability to and from Wyoming schools? So I think this is a good opportunity to discuss the expectations for board members, because I don't want to promise things that I can't actually deliver on, right? And so any candidate that stands up here and says that they can individually fix the busing system, I feel like we have to understand that it's collaborative work among the board. And then also that the board should not be micromanaging the work of the district. It's a policy setting entity. I think that the Board of Education should play a real strong role in terms of accountability, and so that's where I would see the role being played here. Is if there's problems with the busing, with the current busing contract or the way the performance, allowing the district to try and correct that. But if we continue to hear negative feedback about it, then the board can serve as the accountability mechanism to make sure that this is becoming like a priority issue and that we're trying to make the improvements that are necessary. Now, the second part of this question is, how important is maintaining walkability to and from Wyoming schools? And what I would say to that is that I feel like walkability is incredibly important. It's something that makes Wyoming unique. It's the reason that my family moved here, is because of that neighborhood sense. My kids have walked to Elm, they walk to the middle school. My sophomores walk to the high school, which they don't actually love at this point in time. But that's something unique and special about our community. Now, at the same time, though, I would categorize walkability as something that is like wonderful about our community, but I don't see it as necessarily being like an essential need, in the same way that I feel that school safety, that ADA compliance, that more room for special education classrooms, that having more square footage to be able to do some of these 21st century learning activities, I feel like those are clear-cut needs that have to be addressed in the facility upgrades. Walkability is definitely a priority, but it doesn't rise for me to the same level as these other things that we're talking about. And on the flip side, I also don't feel that every elementary school has to have like a full-on performance auditorium. Like that is not a need. And I feel that there's way that some of the specialist classrooms, like those can be shared spaces. So I think there's ways we can get creative, but we need to be realistic in terms of when we're talking about what are the priority needs in our community versus the things that are the wants.